let's have a look at some units of volume or capacity. Now, there's probably more on this table than we can easily take in quickly. So let's have a look at the important parts and think about how we're going to remember the conversions that we probably are going to need a lot during our lives. Let's start with this tiny block. Hold it up close. Now this is 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre. So this is 1 cubic centimetre, and we write this with the centimetres with that little 3 up there, which means cubed. Now, why a 3? Well, because it has width, it has depth, and it has height. So it has 3 different dimensions that we're measuring, and we need to multiply all 3 dimensions by each other to find the volume of this thing. So it's handy to know that 1 cubic centimetre looks like this, and to know that it's 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre in size, and that this is 1 millilitre. So if I put fluid into a little tiny container this big, that's how much it would hold. So these are really important ones to know. All right, going up to something else that's quite handy, something a little bit bigger here. Now this block is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. So that's this one here. Now the amount of fluid that is held by a container this size is exactly 1 litre. So although this one doesn't have a nice neat number over here, these all have 1s, all right, this is a really good thing to be able to visualise. You know what it looks like when you have 2 litres of milk sitting on your kitchen bench? Well, it's sort of like about this size, isn't it? But it's twice as tall. So knowing that 2 litres would be 2 of these, one on top of each other, you've got a bit of a rough idea of what 1 litre looks like. Okay, so that's this one here. Now, if we want to think about how many of these little ones there are in one of these, then all you need to do is just visualise the blocks. Imagine on the bottom layer, if we just look at this, we've got 10 rows of 10, don't we? So 10 tens is 100. But we've also got 10 layers. This explains why we have 10 times 10 times 10. Now 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So this is actually 1,000 centimetres cubed. I'm going to write it in red because it's a little bit different from the other things in this column. It's not a 1 in front of it here. But this shows us that you can fit 1,000 of these little ones into one of those. Okay, so there's also 1,000. Now, it's 1,000 times bigger, but if we want to convert, we need to divide by 1,000. I'm just going to put a 1,000 in there because we'll explain how to convert those in a moment. All right, so what else can we visualise? Well, a kilolitre is important to know as well. Now, you already know that 1,000 metres make 1 kilometre, and 1,000 grams make 1 kilogram. So you probably have already an understanding that kilo means 1,000. So 1 kilolitre will be 1,000 litres. So going between these, we also have a ratio of 1,000. You get 1,000 of those in one of these. Now what does this look like? Well, this is 1 cubic metre. So if you can picture 1 metre by 1 metre and a metre tall. Now these are often the size of those tanks. You see these on the back of utes getting around town all the time if you live in a country area. And a 1 metre by 1 metre by 1 metre tank holds exactly 1 kilolitre, which is 1,000 litres of water. Okay, this is 1,000 litres. So that's a really handy sort of one to know, because when you see one of those tanks, you can picture, oh, that's 1,000 of these, which makes sense, because if it's a metre wide and this is 10 centimetres wide, you'd be able to put 10 of these across in a row and make 10 rows of them, and that would sit on the base of that tank. So 10 tens is 100. But then you could put 10 layers of them as well. So 10 times 10 times 10, you can see why this is 1,000 times bigger than that. All right, so what else do we have here on our chart? Well, let's look a bit smaller, just so we understand what these things are. 1 cubic millimetre would be 1 millimetre by 1 millimetre by 1 millimetre. Really, really tiny, okay? And this is called a microliter. I've put this in red because this is not strictly something you need to know right now. But if you ever go into science, you'll find that scientists measure fluids in microliters all the time using special instruments called pipettes. And they use this just to measure tiny little amounts. And down here we have a megaliter. And a megaliter is 10 metres by 10 metres by 10 metres. And that's 1,000 kiloliters. And down here, a kilometre cubed would be absolutely enormous. Imagine 1 kilometre by 1 kilometre, and then a kilometre tall. That's very, very tall. That would be an amazing amount of capacity. So this is actually what's called 1,000 gigalitres, and I've put this in red. This is not something strictly that you need to know right now, but in case you're interested, you can see where it fits in. Now, focusing in on these ones that we can actually visualise, because there's something tangible like this, or like this, 1 litre, or that tank that goes on the back of the ute, which is 1 metre cubed and is a kilolitre. It's also handy to know that the metric system says that this will be exactly 1 gram in weight. This will be 1,000 grams in weight, which is 1 kilogram, and this will be 1,000 grams, so that would be 1 million grams, or 1,000 kilos, or we have then a special word for that, 1 megakilo. Now, that's not a word we use very often, let's put that in brackets. But our understanding that as we go from one of these to the next, you get 1,000 in each one, that'll help you a lot when we come to the conversions.